And now for a view from Israel, let's talk to our correspondent Roee Ruttenberg in Tel Aviv. Hello there, Roee. What is Israel saying about this reported attack?
Well, so far, Israel has neither confirmed nor denied those allegations, which is quite consistent with its behavior in the past. There were attacks in Syria in 2007 and 2008, 2 assassinations and an attack on a nuclear facility, all of which to many people had the bearings of the hallmarks of Israeli actions. But back then, 5 or 6 years ago, Israel stayed quiet and is expected to do the same now. This is a region where what you say and what you don't say have equal merit. That's true both for Israel because of the consequences and also for Syria. It could be indeed that there were actually 2 separate events. From what we can tell and what an analyst here told me, it wouldn't necessarily be in Syria's interest to confirm that there was a convoy going from Syria to Lebanon, because that would draw some condemnation from the West particularly, and from other countries that are concerned about the transfer of chemical weapons to Hezbollah. And of course it's keen to create some type of response for an attack in the suburbs of Damascus. But that response also exposes some vulnerability for the Syrian president Bashar Assad, being that it's so close to the presidential palace, that facility being just a few kilometers away from the center of Damascus. Now, we've already heard some international condemnation coming out in the last few hours. Hezbollah urged Arab and Islamic countries to condemn the attack. We've heard from the Arab League, which has in the last few months been no big fan of the Syrian president Bashar Assad, condemning the attacks, saying that Israel violated international space and violated UN policies, UN law effectively. Now, the Israelis, again, not commenting on this. The major discussion here at the moment is Netanyahu, the prime minister, forming his next coalition following the elections on January 22nd. But there is indeed an awareness and alertness. People in the north with a lot of memories of the war 6 years ago with Hezbollah in Lebanon, really preparing, they say, for some type of expected conflict, perhaps an escalation. And Israel also meeting with officials from India, raising the alert level there for Israeli diplomats operating the country, which has had attacks on Israeli institutions in the past.
And Roee, Russia has responded to the attack, saying if proved true, they would violate the UN Charter and cannot be justified. Then what impact would this reported attack, if proved true, would have on the situation on the ground in Syria?
Well, the ramifications can be plenty. First of all, we've heard from Iran in the last few days that any attack on Syria would be an attack, effectively an extended attack on Iran. And indeed, in the last few hours, we've heard from the deputy foreign minister, the Iranian deputy foreign minister, saying that there would be a response somewhere in the heart of Tel Aviv, not being too specific. Those sentiments being echoed by the Syrian envoy to Lebanon, saying that those countries reserve the right to respond in a surprise way if necessary. The apparent escalation, if there is any, probably wouldn't be between Syria and Israel, because the Syrian military is engaged right now in its own civil war. But the big concern that many have is that this could really be an escalation between Hezbollah and Israel. That border between Israel and Lebanon has been quiet, relatively quiet, for the last 6 years. Hezbollah was reported to have been involved in the targeting of a bus full of Israelis in Bulgaria. One analyst I spoke to told me that if these weapons do reach Lebanon, not to say that they have, but if they do, that would indicate that they took, quote, a quantum leap in their weapons, which would really be an escalation of the perceived threat in Israel, and many saying that is a red line for Israel. As I mentioned, the country here is prepared for some type of escalation, but officials here say, for the moment, that is not something that they want, and they're hoping that is not the direction that it'll take.
Thank you very much, Roee Ruttenberg, reporting from Tel Aviv.